Because mentioning Halloween and giving out the candy and that, I remember when I first got into magic, me and my friend, we'd had a bowl of candy, the kids would come up and we'd go with a French drop, you know, put your hand in and snap it, and you know, the kids thought they got the bag. But the better idea now is using the delight. So, you know, when the kid goes trick or treat, you know, you take the light and put it inside the bag, it looks in there, it's not in there, you go, no, it's still there, you don't put it back in. Saves a lot of money that way. Now, a lot of people,
that's
That's a miser's dream.
Yeah, a lot of people think that, you know, Michael invented the delight, but that's not really true. I actually invented it when I was 15 years old. Now that was before they had diodes, so I had to use a flashlight bulb. But the only problem was back then the thumb tips were made out of metal, and so you know I just couldn't get the bulb bright enough to shine through it. And I lived in Phoenix, Arizona, and one of my friends there, his name was Stevie, and he played around with his parents' 8mm camera a lot. And I showed it to him, and he said he would try to, you know, work on it. And then he made that stupid little movie with that alien that had the fingers that glow. So, you know, he stole that from me, you know. It really, really upset me very much. I mean, I got no credit at all. But Don mentioned that he had 32 thumb tips. And he said that, you know, nobody can have too many thumb tips.
Yeah.
Well, you know, back then, you know, we used the metal ones, but today, you know, we have the plastic ones, there's the magic kits and all that. But tonight, I want to show you one of my favorite tricks in magic. I don't know if you've seen it before, but it's called the Vanishing Thumb Tip. And first of all, let me get my thumb tip. Here we go. This is a ordinary thumb tip. Would you like to examine that? Just make sure that it, you know, that's not a gimmick thumb tip.
There's no candy there.
Yeah.
Is there a thumb?
And we also be using an ordinary 18-inch red silk. And just hold that for a second.
Okay.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to make a slight indentation into the silk.
Okay.
Place the thumb tip into the silk. Push it in, and just like magic, thumb tip.
Wait, are you cheap on the magician?
See, now this is where a lot of magicians enter the trick. But I got it on a new twist, and that is I'm going to reach inside my pocket and reproduce the thumb tip.
Oh.
There we go. Now, how did I do that? Well, this is really sneaky.
Oh, you took guts.
Actually, the secret is I'm using two thumb tips.
Oh.
And what I did is the one thumb tip actually fits inside the other. So this is what I call the nesting thumb tips. Now, so what you do is you have the silk inside your pocket, and when you bring out the thumb tips, you actually have both of the thumb tips together. Now, what he didn't notice is that when I handed him the thumb tip, I let the other one drop back into my hand. See, so when I handed it to him, I'm actually palming the second thumb tip. And then when I reached inside my pocket, you know, to pull out the silk, I'm actually putting the thumb tip back in. Now, this is going to be part of my new lecture. Now, when I did this a couple of years ago, Chris Angel saw it, and he wanted it for his station, and so he offered me $10, but he wanted all the rights to it, and I wouldn't give it to him. But I don't know if you saw, but about a year ago, he did it on this show. But when he did it, he wasn't using my method. Instead of, oh, by the way, you have to use a vernier, because if you use the cheap ones from China or India, sometimes they get stuck together, and when you try to do the palming, it did. So when he did it, he handed it to a spectator in the audience, and when you saw it, you actually saw that the two were stuck together. If you look at the video, zoom in on it, and then the spectator handed it back to him, there was only one. So the director must have hollered cut, and we moved it, and then they cleaned it up in post-production. And now, what's really big was, he was using 3 thumb tips. And I don't know, yeah, he took a very simple method, and he's just complicated it by using a 3rd one, and it was actually, one of the larger ones. So don't do it his method, only use 2. And now, one of the things I have found is I've tried using it with the fingertips. Let's see. But the fingertips are a little bit, I thought I had some fingertips on me. Yeah, the fingertips are a little bit small, and you can't really get them to nest together. So, don't use the fingertips. Only use the thumb tips. Now, they're awesome.
That's a good
I have no that, oh, by the way, that spectator that Chris Angel handed the thumb tips to, it was a guy, well, actually it wasn't a guy, it was a plant. What it was that was a bonny bitch. And Bonnie Bitch was dressed up, Bonnie Bitch is a world famous male impersonator, and he's doing one of his very favorite characters called Steve Daly. So, but if you look really close, you'll see that. Now, when you're doing this, a lot of people, it's really important to tell size. The 12-inch kind of works, but it's a little bit too small. And of course, the 9-inch or the 6-inch doesn't work at all. And I've tried using the 24-inch silk. The 24-inch is a little bit on the big side. So actually, it's really, if you're going to do it, always use the 12-inch. Now, it doesn't have to be rice. I mean, it could be a supreme. But make sure that it is pure silk. And I'm going to have, after the meeting, I have these for sale. Now, the DVD normally sells for $20. And I have the nesting thumb tips. Now, if you already have a thumb tip and you only need one, make sure that, I can sell you one, but for those of you that don't, I have 2 of them. Now, normally these sell for $5 each, so there's 2 of them, and that'd be $20 there. That's another $5, and the silk, of course, is $5. But we had a special IBM SAM combined discount tonight, only tonight for $20. So I have them on the dealer table. So anyway, this will be my next lecture, and I want to thank you all very much.
The assembly gets 10% of the proceeds, so yeah.
Is it kind of looking like do you have a chop cup?
Oh my goodness, that was funny. Oh, geez.
That was really wonderful.
That really was.
Yeah, it's kind of angled.
You should have told me.
You realize this is his first meeting, and he probably believes every bit of it.
By the way, I want to thank Joe very much for not tripping in front of me before. Last month at Indie Magic Monthly, when I did the show, he made his
Grand entrance.
And here, ladies and gentlemen, Robert Baboon.
Hard act to follow.
Yeah, here I got all the dogs loaded up.
I was looking for my picture of Bonnie. And I turned my phone off.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, that was too much.
That was hilarious.
That was remarkable. It's unfortunate you only have a limited audience that you can present it to.
Yeah.
But you could do that at a magic convention.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be an optimal place to do that.
Well, the idea originally wasn't mine, it's Aldo's. But he just, he just does it as a one-time thing, and then I fleshed it out by adding in the second thumb tip, the nesting part, the Chris Angel, and made it into an actual, like it's done as a lecture.
You know, it would be great as a magic video if there would be a number of people doing that. You know, each
It's a convention.
yeah.
Talk to L&L, we'll have the compilation of the greatest thumb tip vanishes of all time.
I think it'd be great to see a lecture.
It's a one of a kind, I've only got 2 left.
Yeah, all you need now is a toe tip.
I thought that one was.
Does anyone else have anything they'd like to share?
Anybody else follow that?
Steve?
Well, mine's not giveaway magic.
That's okay.
But